Hello, welcome back to Sodbuster Living. And in this video, I share with you how well, not really how, it's not a how-to video. I share with you what I have picked up from our local mobile food pantry. The mobile food pantry works in a way that it collects items that are about to expire or have expired, however that works, from local sources, so farmers, your store, what have you. Once in a while, as I think we get into the more winter months, we'll have what is called commodities, which are government subsidized food. Now, we've been having a lot of produce, which has been marvelous, wonderful. I'm so happy. That is what I personally have just been really blessed with. And I know that for each adult in the vehicle, it counts as one family. So if you have 2 adults in the vehicle, it counts as 2 families, so on and so forth. I learned this last week when I had my sister with me. I have 2 sisters that just moved to Indiana. And the gal was like, "Oh, you need 2." And I'm like, "No, I just have a one household." And she was like, "Oh, but she's 18, and does she live in the same household?" "No, she does not." And she's like, "Okay, well, that counts for 2 households." So that's good to know. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So I collected a household, and then the former neighbors, which are 2 households, they give me what they do not want. And then I have another elderly couple that learned about how I share this with people in our church, the young mamas in our church, and they give us what they don't want. Because as you can see, sometimes you get a whole lot of produce, and especially for the elderly, it can be more than what they want. And for especially the elderly, they hate food waste just as much as I do, and they don't want it to go to waste. So they share with me. Excuse me. I've been asked for why doesn't the young mamas in our church go to these things? Well, for a couple of reasons. Obviously, I get a lot of produce here, so I can share. 2, these young mamas are, young mamas with young babies, and you basically drive up and you sit and you wait for all the cars to go through. We end up with sometimes 6 or 7 lines of 30 cars. So, I hope that clears it up. As always, down in the description box below, you can find out any information and local sources near to you. I am in the state of Indiana, so there are Indiana state resources below. Don't forget to contact places like Salvation Army. They are really resourceful in finding food help, and that would be my personal place to start. All right, so this week we have 3 families here. And the elderly couple took 1 bag of apples, 1 container of grapes, and 1 bag of potatoes. Possibly 1 bag of onions too. I think they did as well. I had one of the young mamas from the church with me because we went and picked pears. I'll get to that in just a second. And she took... Okay, so... I got interrupted and I don't remember where it was. But the young mama that went and picked pears with me, she took a bag of potatoes, maybe a bag of apples. I'm not sure about the apples, but definitely a thing of grapes and a thing of onions. So definitely potatoes, grapes, and onions. Alright, and then after the food trucks, we'll get to what we got here just in a second. After the food trucks, there was the elderly couple that gave us their food said, "Hey, there's this gal that has a pear tree, and she's trying to find somebody that will be able to use all these pears. Do you want to go?" And I did, but I completely forgot a rake. So we picked up a lot of the pears that were on the ground. They need to be processed into pear sauce, which is one of my favorite. Pears are my favorite. I love pears. So I'm really looking forward to not only eating for pears fresh, but pear sauce is something that I inhaled when I was pregnant. Trader Joe's had a pear sauce, and I just loved it so much as a snack. And what's funny is I've been really wanting it lately, so I'm really excited about that. So that's where all the pears come from, and they're bruised, but I was like, hey, half of it's got to be cut off anyways. We're just gonna, waste not, want not. So we got some pears. We got 2 5-gallon buckets and this bag here. All right, then I have 1 bag of potatoes left. I have these Red Delicious apples, which are kind of local to me because I reckon, oh yeah, see? That's, I don't know how far away that is, but it's an Indiana apple. So local farm must have donated these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's weird. Okay, so 5, and I know one of the elderly couple took one, so my one friend must not have. So each car must have gotten 2 bags of apples. And I'm really excited about these because I just processed all of my other apples that I got from the local Amish salvage store, and I was really hoping I could get just one more batch of dehydrated apples with cinnamon on it for a Christmas present for the kids. So I'm really glad that I'll get to do that. So we have the potatoes and the apples. More grapes. Oh, I know what the other gal took. So we have 4 grapes here. We had 3 papayas, so 1 per vehicle, and the other gal didn't take the young mama, she didn't take the apple, she took a papaya. So I have 2 more papayas left. We did eat the papayas last week, and the 1 or 2 that we cut open, some we had to throw out. They were moldy and going bad by the next day. But the 2 we cut up, they taste like a flavorless cantaloupe. So these I think were picked too green and didn't ripen right. But they're papaya and they're good for you. And then we have, let's see, 2, 4, 6 onions. Let's see, right? 2, 4, 6 onions. And I believe each car took more. That would be 8. So that's interesting. Maybe one car took 2 onions. Or maybe there's still an onion bag in my car. I don't know. Either way, we either got 2 or 3 bags of onions and a bonus one. So that's what we got this week for our food trucks. Wanted to kind of share with you what we use them for. I will offer what I can to the mamas in my group. But like I'll use this. I'll offer some grapes. I now have my sisters here. I think they may take a grape. I'll offer some apples, and I'll offer some onions. But I really don't foresee anybody taking grapes, and I don't foresee anybody taking onions. So here's what my plan is to do. We'll eat these. These will be great for things like potato soup. We're in that cooler season, so there is a sauerkraut potato soup that I really want to try. I'll leave it linked down below, and we have plans to make sauerkraut today. So I'll be doing that. I will dehydrate these grapes. That has been the way that my kids really love them. I cut them in half. I put them in my dehydrator. It takes at least 24 hours for them to get right. And everybody says, oh, you mean raisins? They're kind of raisins, but they're not quite raisins. They have more of a I want to say like more like a date than a grape. It's really hard to describe, but my kids don't like raisins, but they eat this. So I don't know I don't know what to tell you, but that's what they do. So we're going to do the sauerkraut potato soup. I'm going to dehydrate all the grapes, and that has not lasted very long. The ones I did with all the other grapes are gone. I'm going to do some pear sauce. I want to make a pear crisp and take to the lady that let us have these as a thank you. I know she works 3rd shift, so something like that I think would be kind of blessing to her as she blessed me. So that's one thing I want to do, and then I'll make my pear sauce, and I'll eat a bunch fresh because I love pear so much. This is happiness. This is happiness. So I'll be doing that. Apples, whatever nobody wants. I really want to make those dehydrated apples with cinnamon in them and use that for Christmas this year. I tend to put certain things in the kids' stocking, like some kind of treat, a cutie, and then I always do some kind of bar because Christmas morning is our big breakfast. I make more of a brunch where you have everything. You have your scrambled eggs, you have your bacon, you have your sausage, you have fresh squeezed orange juice, you have my poor son's in the background like, oh, pumpkin pancakes. I go all out, and the Christmas breakfast is kind of something that everybody looks forward to, but it takes me a long time to do. So the bar is kind of to hold everybody over till then. So thinking the bars and then the little, treat here instead of candy. will be great. In the last couple of years, I've been kind of not putting candy in the stocking because I'm that mom. Anyway, and then the papaya. Yeah, see, this is where the other ones were starting to kind of rot and go bad as well. But this isn't quite ready yet, so that's kind of unfortunate. But I take what I have, and I'm very thankful for it. And then the onions. What nobody wants for onions, that doesn't grammarly sound right. Whatever onions nobody wants, I will chop up and put into the freezer. I have a feeling, though, it may not be worth it by the time people take what they want, including my sisters, and I'll probably just use them as will, which has been really great because I really haven't had to buy onions in a long time. I think I bought one bag this entire year, and it was unfortunate because if I had just waited the next day, I wouldn't have had to buy the onions. Oh well. Alright, so that's it for today's video, showing you how I'm going to use this. And I will see you next week with another What We Get from the Mobile Food Pantry. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.